Hello everybody, welcome to WhatCulture Gaming. I'm Scott, joined by Josh.
Hello.
Now, I have all the things to tell you about Crash Team Racing because it broke last night at midnight and I just stayed on it until about 3/4 in the morning.
You're a madman. Like, I saw your tweets this morning and I was like, what are you doing? So I know you love Crash Team Racing and everything.
Yep.
But your health, man.
Oh, it's fine. I mean, it's fine. This is the hair quality and the nasal cavity quality of a man who prioritizes Crash Team Racing over his very health. World Health Organization, shout out to all the work that you've been doing. But basically, the state of Crash Team Racing is that it's very much a perfect game. And I think that being that I'm one of the biggest fans of CTR, I don't know,
ever
in the remote vicinity, it's been 20 years coming. And so for me, I think that I've played very much enough of the original game. I've played a good sort of cumulatively about 4 to 5 hours ish of this new one. I think there's enough to put together what I would call a review.
Yes.
So ask me things, Josh.
Well, you do know this inside and out, right? I love all of the Activision remasters so far. In fact, I was playing Spyro last night. Crash Insane Trilogy is so delicious. What have they actually done to sort of overhaul this and get both new players in and returning? Like, is the remaster just is of the same quality as those two prior releases?
I wouldn't compare it to the Crash one because I think they got the feel wrong, just for me. One of the things that I love about this, and they made a big point of telling us this when we went down to play it in London, you can check me and Jules' video from a little while ago, was that they said that your muscle memory should carry straight across, which was the thing that when this got announced, I was fearing for, because I thought that it would be so easy for them to get it wrong, because there's such a very specific sense of weight and momentum to the way the Crash Team Racing plays, as opposed to sort of, for me, like the more floaty nature of something like Mario Kart. Yeah. I've always loved that sort of almost industrialized, like mechanized kind of feel to the karts in this, where you're just throwing them into the corners, you sort of like slingshot yourself round a chicane and you fire out the other side. I adore that, and that's why I fell in love with CTR, and I've always said it was better than Mario Kart. And so for me, it was always one of those things that they could just get wrong, but they haven't. It's very much that same muscle memory feel that just does carry across. They haven't added any mechanics to it, they've only they haven't necessarily refined them, because for me it was pretty much perfect in the first place. It's very much a visual overhaul. I think of it as, I like what they did with Spyro, apart from they've brought in the Nitro Kart tracks, and you've got a bigger roster of characters that were never there before, and that CTR feel is now on the new tracks too. That's so cool. It's kind of just, it's the best of all worlds, to be honest.
I love that, because when I picked up Spyro, I thought, unlike Crash, like when I was playing that game, everything felt like, or at least how I remembered it feeling way back when. Obviously they had refined things, but it had the same sort of instinctual, this muscle memory's back, you know exactly what you're doing. So I'm pleased it's the same here. Right, with me, when it comes to kart races, I like Mario Kart, I really love Crash Team Racing, I actually quite like Tag Team and Nitro Kart a little bit more.
But you're wrong.
I know, I might be. I'm a bit younger,
It's not Naughty Dog, so
For me, I need like a really good sort of adventure mode, like to split up the actual races. What does this have for me? And is it any good?
This has the same one as that was in the original, which apparently was, Diddy Kong Racing, I never realized this, which is maybe a weird comment on me as a video game historian. I didn't realize that Diddy Kong Racing had an adventure mode first. I always thought that was a CTR thing.
I thought it was.
Yeah, we're all wrong. Anyway, but yeah, it has the same mode as the original. So you're dropped in, you have I was going to say an open world map, but a little mini map with a selection of different courses on that. You go there, you do like 3 or 4 different races, you'll unlock a boss fight, you can unlock that character, and you just sort of proceed from there. The whole point is that you're going up against this alien called Nitrous Oxide, who's challenging the whole world to either defend the Earth by beating him in a race, or he'll turn your planet into a concrete parking lot, etc., etc.
I love it so much.
It's the exact same. The thing that I love, though, which is what they did in Spyro, which is like remix the cutscenes. You pretty much take the same dialogue, they've re-recorded it, but they've reframed some of the positioning things. So like at the beginning in the PS1 one, Nitrous Oxide is in his ship and he's just like, taunting you from afar kind of thing. But in this, it still has the same opening shot, but you see the guys in the karts flying around the circuit, and then Oxide just appears as a big hologram on the track to stop them, to taunt them face to face. And just things like that, I think that they totally work. Like minuscule things I noticed that are different for negative, which is just that they've changed the way that Cortex laughs, or they've changed Ripperoo's voice. Tiny things that like only people like me care about. The general feel is still there, and I love the rework of the animations. Like just visually, it's absolutely lovely.
I was going to say, so there's nothing really that I don't know, they've kind of gotten wrong in the translation, because I remember when the Insane Trilogy came out, and I quite liked the art style they went with, but for me, I like the sort of the messiness and like the angularness of the original Crash a bit more. Like will there be any kind of like divide for fans here, or is it just like a lovely?
I think it's weird because like obviously they want to tap back into that Naughty Dog feel, which they do on a lot of the additional animations in the courses. Like there was a whole thing like back on the original trilogy where lots of background animations would just show like some little critter being chased by a man and then they run back the other way, or like so just like things that sort of give it character. And they've very much gone back and injected that into some of the courses. Like Papu's Temple has a guy above the starting line who's trying to shoot you, and then his gun just like falls down. Cool. He's like shaking it, trying to get it to work. When you're down in the sewer speedway, there's like a whole bunch of different I forget what you call Komodo Joe's species, whatever. There's a whole bunch of Komodo Joes up and down the sewer speedway, just sort of watching you, and some different people that are like what Pinstripe is, little things like that sort of go like, okay, this is what Naughty Dog would have done if they were making it now, or at least with their sort of 90s mentality. So I love that stuff, and like for me, there's so many little animations that I just adore. Like even at that bit at the very beginning when like Oxide pops up on the track, he's like taunting you, and Crash just falls asleep because he never had dialogue in the original one anyway. So he's like kind of watching, and he's just gone. And then when he finishes 20, he like comes up and he's like, okay, like we need to fight for the Earth. And they have loads of little things like that. Like Cortex just like with his big evil eyes, and like just Crash falls asleep even during the customization screen, which I love. Brilliant. Like he's just so done with it, but he's still gonna like do the right thing. So there's loads of little things like that tap back into that old like the reason you fell in love with Crash in the first place. Yeah,
definitely. Are you playing You're playing on the Switch, if I recall.
Yep.
How is it visually on that? Because I mean, it looks good, but I don't know how it plays on it. I mean, obviously Mario Kart's on the Switch, so it's built for kart races at the same time.
It's weird because, well, I'll say up front that it's absolutely lush. It is weird that a lot of the third-party devs seem to be pushing the console more than the first-party stuff. Like I will say that obviously Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, both look really lush. Something that blew me away though on the Switch initially was Mario and Rabbids. The texture detail and the world detail and just the general look of that game, I think you can put that next to a PS4 game and it would look pretty much spot on. For Crash though, it's the same thing. Like obviously Digital Foundry have already done side-by-sides, and if you zoom in, you can see some of the aliasing on some of the models. Different like fur textures aren't there. You'll just not notice that stuff though unless you're really looking for it. Background detail is the same. A lot of the reflections are the same. Like, you know, there's like weather effects in the rain and like reflections in puddles. The dust that kicks up off your tires when you're going around. Like it's pretty much a one-to-one port. Like having played the PS4 version before and then going to the Switch one, I can't notice that much difference unless I'm looking for it. And especially on handheld, it just looks lush. And that's even to speak to the art direction in general. The way that they've reimagined these tracks is spot on. Like Coco Park just looks absolutely gorgeous. And just, they, like I said before, they've injected it with lots of little characterful elements, but just visually and art direction wise, it's just absolutely lush.
Are you a fan of the new added tracks though, and the new added characters? Would you have preferred it if it was just a pure remake of CTR, or do you like that they've added in elements from the games?
I will say that I wish they had, and they might patch it in, a CTR only playlist for the online, because you're just going into a lobby and you pick from 3 tracks that it suggests, and or maybe 4 tracks. You and the lobby can pick, and you go from there. But because initially I went online and it threw me into some Nitro Kart track, and I was like, I don't know what this is because I don't follow the Nitro Karts. As soon as Naughty Dog left the franchise, so did I. So like I don't really know the Nitro Kart tracks, but I have been playing them. There are some good ones like Clockwork Wumper or whatever. But that's kind of the thing. I initially was like, oh god, I just want CTR. Yeah. But the whole feel of this game is giving you this lush, like generous sort of, like valuable package for the money that you're paying for it. And they've put just as much work into the Nitro Kart tracks as they have the original ones. And it does give someone like me something new. Yes. Even though, like obviously they're not new, but whatever. It does give you something to sort of go, okay, I can, and because you're reapplying the CTR feel, it's like, okay, I do need to remaster, I can master these tracks with this feel that I'm already used to. It's a nice mesh, and it kind of points to, I don't know, it's a thing that I would like to see more games do going forward. Yeah, definitely. It feels like a more complete package, or at least like it gives you a reason to return to a game more than just pure nostalgia. Well, like it's kind of giving you something new. You mentioned online there. Yes. Is that going to be like the main draw, and how does it work? Is it reliable? Is it good? Is it? It's really good. Fine? There was a weird dip. I don't know if I call it lag. It runs at 30 frames per second. It runs extremely fast, especially when you start chaining your boosts together. The thing that I love about CTR is that they've never held back on the speed. Yeah. It took Mario Kart like 8 installments to get to the speed that CTR did in like 2001 or whatever it was, 99. But when you're online, like there was like a weird dip where I was in first naturally, and I was like flying around the course, and it's sort of like it just jumped for a second, and all of a sudden I was like further through the track. I didn't lose position or anything, and it didn't seem like it was like a visual glitch in terms of like kart, like people appearing differently on the track. Yeah. But it just had that sort of weird little dip, and I don't know if that was the game struggling to maintain the frame rate versus, I don't know, like the net ping, the net code. I'm not sure, but that's the only thing that I've noticed. There's a couple of tiny little sort of like hiccups, and then you're like a little bit further forward. Okay. Might just be a connection thing, might because I was playing between 12 and 4 in the morning. Yeah, I mean, it's launch day, I suppose. It could be that. Another thing to mention with the online though is that it segues into the pit stop which is the whole new customization mode.
I was just about to ask you this.
Yes.
Obviously, Activision are publishing it. Are there any, what did he call them yesterday? Surprise mechanics in there.
Mechanics. There's not, and it's weird, right? Because I just think that it might be because I'm jaded, because there are so many games that do have microtransaction storefronts that when you see one of those Windows 10 style storefronts with like tiles and little price tags, that you assume, oh god, this is set up for a microtransaction store. At time of recording, there isn't a microtransaction store, and they've talked around it so far. You do unlock Wumpa coins though. There's no way to buy, there's no way to use real money in the game. Everything is under Wumpa coins. So you get like a few hundred if you like place first or second online. Most things that you can buy in the store are like a good couple of thousand. So it's a nice trade. After I'd done a couple of hours online, I went back in the store and I bought Scuba Crash from Crash 3.
You know what? Right, I didn't like the scuba lesson.
The underwater levels are terrible. And plus, Jetpack Crash from Crash 2 doesn't seem to be in here. But I swear I saw him in a trailer. Maybe he's coming later. There is some DLC that they're going to do for free. But that whole pit stop mode, the way that thing's set up, it has a daily refresh. So you have like a set bunch of items. There'll be a character in there, a skin, and some other like customization parts for the carts and stuff. And it does resets every day. But just looking at it, I'm like, you could easily plug a microtransaction thing into this.
That's what I'm worried about.
And one of the things that a lot of big tier publishers have done is put microtransaction stores into their games after launch.
Especially Activision, they are really bad for it.
And so Beanox have been the ones out there on Twitter saying like, don't worry, we're doing free DLC, like fans come first. And the package as it is right now absolutely feels like the most fan service thing ever. Like it's ludicrous how much time and effort and passion has clearly got into this, which I love. But it makes me cautious, but that might just be the state of the industry as it is. The way that the economy's set up in the game at the minute is quite nice, although the Wumpa coins that you get online drastically outweigh the ones you get offline, because you're getting a few hundred when you play online, you're getting like 15 or 6 or 20 when you're playing offline. If you did the whole adventure mode, you get about 20-ish coins per first place, so if you did that across like the whole game, you'd have enough to then go buy a character or something, which is good. I mean, I think it's geared towards longevity, but it just makes me a little bit gun-shy. Going forward.
At the time of recording, that's not there now.
Absolute perfection right now, so yeah.
I have two kind of final questions.
Bring them.
One, what stops me from really enjoying racing games like this is because I don't really play online, which is maybe scandalous or whatever. But for me, it's like the AI. I feel like it's always either too easy or kind of like a little bit too hard. And I feel like I get myself in like a routine of I know how races are going to go before I'm even in them because I've done them like so many times. And I know who's going to sink up behind me. And
you memorize the track and
How does this solve this? Does it solve it at all?
Yes, it does. It's another little tiny thing, because if you've played CTR this whole time, you'll know specific shortcuts that you take as a fan, as a regular player, that the AI never used to know about back in the day, which they do now. So just an example is at the very beginning of Sewer Speedway, you can turn off one of the ramps and go down. You can cut through. You can take a different path, but the AI takes that now. And they did occasionally take that like back in the day, but it's just all of them just suddenly went that way, and I was like, oh god, they know where I'm gonna go. And little things like that where they've sort of coded it in. The hard difficulty is actually nice and challenging and hard now. It was just one of those things where they couldn't patch the game back in the day, so as people got way better at it, they're hard. They probably realized that, oh god, hard is not actually that hard. But now with 20 years worth of hindsight, or improvisation or whatever, then it makes sense to have an actual hard mode. And yeah, that's really challenging. Mainly because they've separated the carts into tiers. So the likes of like Tiny and Dingo Dial, who have the highest speed but the lowest turning circle, they're listed as the highest characters. So when you put the game on hard, nearly everyone is a high tier character, and they're just going to burst out of the gate at full speed, and you might immediately be thrown back into 6th or 8th, which is good. And that also goes in tandem with the fact that I think CTR has the best set of power-ups in any kart racer ever.
I'm with you on this, right?
Yeah.
I am so with you on this. And when you go back to like Mario or anything else, what are those power-ups compared to the delicious
Oh, do you want some shells? No. We've got a green one, a red one, and a blue one. No, I think in CTR, it's like, for me, they always have the nice balance where you have a good selection of power-ups, a good selection of shields and missiles, invulnerability shields and boosts and everything. But if you get 10 of the Wumpa fruit, the 10 of the apples, you get the second tier of that. Yeah. So the missiles become homing, the shield becomes, it lasts forever. Little things like that sort of just give it a little bit more of a tactile feel. Maybe you want to save up the apples and, save a power-up for later on and things like that. That for me always gave it the edge over Mario Kart and always will. But I think they've, for the most part, just absolutely ruddy nailed it.
Well, here you go. Unless you have anything more to add, I have a final question. 1, what would you give it out of 5? And 2, is it going to be eligible for Game of the Year? Because the Insane Trilogy wasn't, and I'm still not over it. It's been 2 years, and yet, what are you going to say?
Well, I'm going to say that the difference is that, well, one, I'm going to give it 5 stars because it's a perfect product. I don't think there's anything wrong with it whatsoever. They could knacker it in the future, but as it stands right now, this thing feels polished and just immaculate. It's definitely fans first, and the amount of passion on the dev side, they clearly care about the way that Naughty Dog used to personalize their games back in the day, and they've brought that to the fore, which is just lovely to see. So for me, it's definitely a 5-star product. In terms of the Crash thing, though, there's way more to this than just an aesthetic overhaul, and they didn't mess up the physics, which is what happened with Untitled Trilogy.
We will never, ever agree with this sort of thing. We might do a whole podcast on it. We will be fighting to the death over this. We've already done a podcast on it before.
Yeah, it's true.
We can do it again.
You can check out, what year was that? Was that 2016?
2016?
Yeah.
No, 17.
2017. Check out our Game of the Year debates at the end of 2017 to see more of this, but with more weight on the line because it's for the Game of the Year positions. Although Crash did get in the top 10.
Yeah, me and Jules forced that bad boy in there.
Horrific.
I remember your face when that happened.
Crash Team Racing is my new Game of the Year. It beats Devil May Cry 5.
Whoa!
So, yeah.
That's outrageous.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty damn good. So, yes, let us know what you think down in the comments below. Hopefully you're a fan of Crash Team Racing. For now, though, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com.
I've been Josh from WhatCulture.com.
I'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.